then there's Ariel, who ends up being blessed by insanely beautiful elemental spirits, not just one, but more than 10. What a miserable life. What's really miserable, though, is his situation. No matter how hard he trains, there's no way he can surpass someone like her. But that doesn't mean he's just going to sit still either. At the very least, he needs to be strong enough to defend himself, especially if Ariel ever decides to come after him. On the bright side, it seems like he might be able to unlock new talents. With a snap of his fingers, the black book appears, but smacks him right in the crotch. He yells at the damn thing to stop showing up and hitting him every time. Then he hears this strange whistling sound, and the book opens up and starts flipping pages. Now it's retelling everything that's happened over the past few days, and he's annoyed because the thing is way too detailed. The way it's written, it makes him sound like some shady creep trying to do something awful to that poor girl. That's when he notices something odd. One of the words in the text, assassin, is glowing red. Suddenly, a strange energy surrounds him, and he yells at the book to give a warning next time. Now he finds himself in a new room. He looks around and quickly realizes it's not the same dungeon from before. Maybe it's another space inside the book, but before he can really figure anything out, someone approaches from behind. He turns around, and it's her again. That same girl who already once hit him in the neck. Boom, no time to react. Lights out. He wakes up in bed again. The poor guy didn't even get a second to understand what just happened, dropped in one hit. The book stirs again, and when he looks, it shows that his dagger combat skill is now at 1% and his shadow step is at 0.5%. Finally, he's discovered the actual combat abilities he has in this messed up world, and he's fired up, saying he's sure this hack of his is going to be seriously overpowered. Later that night, he's lying in bed, mumbling about how he barely survived. He lasted, apparently, just 3 seconds in there. He decides to check if his proficiency went up, and yeah, he gained 1% in both. Now he understands his skills really are broken. Any ability, maybe from enemies he defeats, gets recorded in the book and he can learn it. Or maybe it's just skills he sees. Not sure. If it were based on sight, he should have already picked up that ice ability from the girl. But maybe not, since that one came from a goddess. What he does know is that he's thinking of some massive skill right now, and it's a strong one. He's all excited, muttering that it's only a matter of time before that power, and those dagger abilities are all his. He doesn't exactly know how to gain proficiency fast, but he's about to find out. The book smacks him right in the face, and then boom, he takes a kick to the head, gets slashed across the chest, and ends up shredded. Meanwhile, outside his room, Anne knocks on the door and calls for him. When she walks in, she sees him under the covers and looks a bit confused. Seeing that, she chuckles and says it's funny. He still sleeps the same way he did when he was a kid. Such a cute little boy. She uses a heat-preserving spell and says she won't wake him up just yet. That Anne, I'm just waiting for the plot twist where she turns into a total demon, because there's no way that sweet smile is genuine. As soon as she closes the door, he pops out from under the blanket, grumbling that the cursed book hit him right in the groin. Or maybe he's just getting hit by some cheap tricks. Either way, he's determined to jump back into that dream until he finally beats her. The sun rises, and by that point, he had already tried 185 times. That's some next-level mental resilience. He dies in every single attempt, but now he's lasting 30 seconds. He gets hit with a wave of exhaustion, bumps into his tea, knocks it over, and crashes to the floor, completely drained. But finally, he had found a way to get stronger. The only problem? The pain of dying in that illusion feels very real. He thought he could game the system. At the moment he died, he could just re-enter and ignore the fear. But nope, that was impossible. And now, after a full night of effort, it's time to see the results of all that grinding. His dagger technique had reached level 2, and Shadow Step was at 11%. Sure, that was still nowhere near assassin level, but just knowing he could evolve like this was already a huge deal. He's excited to test it out, so he activates Shadow Step and dashes across the room. The guy's practically leaving smoke trails, completely hyped, until he suddenly winces in pain. Turns out his foot got scorched. Now he's wondering how that assassin girl who attacked Payman managed to use this without flinching. And then it hits him, of course. These techniques are way too advanced for someone like him, just a tier 1 fighter. Back at the academy, he learned that to handle techniques like these, you need to channel ki throughout your body to reinforce it and reduce the recoil. But that's something only level 2 warriors can do. So the plan for now is to find a proper teacher, preferably a hot one, of course. He's already daydreaming about Saint Maria from the academy. The only issue is that while he knows tons of powerful mages, he doesn't know that many strong warriors. That's because in this world, magic is so ridiculously broken that no one even bothers with martial arts. Why train punches and kicks just to eat a fireball to the face? Then it clicks. There's one warrior, probably the most powerful in the whole story. Or rather, not probably, definitely. That would be his dad. How the hell did he forget he had the final boss living in the same house? In the last 100 years, no warrior has had a greater impact on the world than him. At 15, he was already a royal guard. At 20, he crushed rebel forces. By 27, he became a marshal of the empire. At 32, he earned the title Lionheart King. He's never lost a fight. This guy is the real deal. Our boy is now thinking that Moon actually deserved the tragic ending he got. The guy had everything, a perfect life and even a father who could have taught him everything. But he blew it. That's fine though, because from now on he's going to ask his dad for personal training. You'd think the next line would be the dad refusing, but no. It's actually Anne knocking again, saying the master is looking for him. He walks out with her, saying it's perfect timing. He was just about to ask for the same thing. But outside, he runs into two more maids. One of them wears glasses and honestly might be the first thin girl in this whole story. Moon notices they call Anne the head maid now and gives her a compliment. Guess she got promoted, huh? She explains that the other one, the previous head maid, resigned right after he woke up, so she ended up taking the position. He feels like maybe she got kicked out because of him, which is a little confusing. But she tells him not to worry, that even though she won't be the head maid anymore, she's still part of the household. And that's when his mother gives him this very peculiar hug. Alright, illustrator, let's maybe tone it down a bit, yeah. She's having him and saying she wants him to call her mommy 1,000 times. Then she presses his head to her stomach and tells him to listen. Turns out, yep, she's pregnant, which means he's going to have a little sibling. Right then, the father walks in, telling her to take it easy. The boy just got out of bed after recovering, so maybe don't get too excited. A bit later, Moon's surprised to find out his dad is heading back to the front lines. Also, can we talk about the maid standing next to his father? She's massive. Clearly, the Duke himself was in charge of hiring all these women, and we can already tell what kind of taste this guy has. Refined, I'd say. He says that this afternoon he's returning to the front and will be gone for at least a month. During that time, Moon needs to stay in the capital. He turns to Miss Fey and says he's counting on her to look after everyone. Moon, however, tells him he shouldn't go. There are other generals in the Empire, and besides, he's a duke. But his father explains that unfortunately, after nearly a decade of silence, things have gotten urgent. There are signs of abyssal demons near the borders. But Moon knows what this actually is, a distraction meant to divide human forces. The real invasion doesn't happen until 3 years from now, when Ariel finally rises as the savior. The problem is, even though his dad said a month, he'll probably be gone for 3 years, which means Moon's plan to learn swordsmanship from him is completely wrecked. A griffin and carriage arrive and his father waves goodbye, telling his wife not to cry. He'll be back soon. He calls Moon over and says he was impressed when he risked his life to protect the Empress. That was the courage of a true knight, the kind of bravery that runs in Campbell blood. He reminds him of their family symbol. The sword represents strength, and they are the blade of the Empire. The dragon symbolizes the enemy they must defeat. In other words, they are the weapon of the entire realm. At some point, every man in the family must step onto the battlefield. He's not sure if Moon will follow that path, but that doesn't matter. What matters now is that he's become a real man. And because of that, his father promises to invest every resource he didn't have in his youth, so Moon can become even stronger. Moon just stands there, silent for a moment, and then his father says it's time to talk about something serious. He wants to know what Moon really thinks about Anne. Caught off guard, Moon says she's nice, but why bring that up? His father explains that he's watched that girl grow up. She comes from a good family, she's smart, and most importantly, she sees him as more than just her master. If Moon doesn't want to lose her, he better do something about it soon. Now Moon's standing there totally thrown off. What is his father even talking about? The Duke decides to be blunt. The family needs more heirs. His wife's only just now having their second child, and with him going back to the front lines, there won't be time to make more. Moon nervously mentions that he's technically engaged to Payman. His father brushes it off, saying that's just political. Even if they do get married in the end, she'll be the main wife and Anne can be the secondary. Then his dad's face turns serious. He delivers the final verdict. In 3 years, when he returns, Moon better have a child. That's it. That's the plan. What kind of ruthless dad throws Anne at him like that? I wouldn't want to be in that situation, honestly. That's a hard pass for me. As soon as the father leaves, Anne steps into the room and says she heard her name mentioned. She wants to know if he needs anything from her. Honestly, I thought Moon would dodge the question, but nope. He goes straight to the point and says they need to have a kid, because that's what his dad just told him to do. But he thinks it's just a joke, so she doesn't need to take it seriously. Her job is to be a maid, and in the future, they'll each go their own way. Then, out of nowhere, he starts saying she's the perfect woman and he's sure she'll find an amazing guy someday. And if she ever meets someone, all she has to do is tell him in person. He'll give her his blessing to leave. And then, with all the confidence in the world, he puts a hand on her shoulder and tells her to be brave and go find her own happiness. Meanwhile, he walks off feeling great, thinking he just pulled the perfect move. But is he actually into her? Feels like he is, doesn't it? But just as we expected, yeah, that didn't sit right with her at all. She's literally shaking with rage, whispering through clenched teeth that he really has changed. She can't wait any longer. It's going to have to be tonight. And here we are tonight. Our boy's lying there thinking how nothing is going the way he planned. He thought he'd get help from his father to get stronger, but now the guy's gone. So now he's got to figure it out solo. For the time being, he's avoiding the academy, since half the people there are close to the all-powerful protagonist, and that would only make his situation worse. He needs to master the basics first. Only after that can he head out into the world. He closes another book, grabs the dark book, and when he opens it, it's got a record of everything he read in the others. Actually, he only needs to see the cover and flip a few pages to learn the content. This little book is perfect for leveling up fast. Too bad that right at that moment, Anne walks in, acting all innocent. Watch her reading. He brushes her off and asks if she brought him something to eat. She says yes. He tells her to go easy on him, but she just responds that this is part of her duties. She brought vintage wine. Only 100 bottles are produced per year, and it costs over 200,000 coins. But he says he's not in the mood. He's still studying, doesn't want to get distracted. But the bottle's already cracking in her grip, and she asks him what he would like to drink. He says coffee to help him stay awake and focused, but she replies that they only have wine or black tea. Strange. That sounds oddly familiar. He pauses, thinking, wait, this feels familiar. She hands over the cup, apologizing, saying the coffee beans were eaten by rats, so she'll bring fresh ones tomorrow. Oh my god. This idiot doesn't even look at the cup. He drinks it, gets hit with a shock, the cup crashes to the floor, and his vision goes blurry. He starts collapsing, asking why she betrayed him. But she grabs him gently, saying she would never do that. She tells him to sleep peacefully. She says her heart is shattered. She loves him so much, so how could he say something like that? He's changed too much, and now he needs to be purified with her love. He better accept it, because they're going to be together forever, until the world ends. He opens his eyes, and where is he? You already know. Hands and feet bound to a board. The prophecy girl is standing right in front of him. This prophecy's cursed, I swear. She's already taking off her uniform, saying that damn black market guy never fails. He tries to ask what she's doing, but she immediately replies he knows exactly what she's doing. Then she says that 10 years ago, when he was just 8, she stood by his side. From that moment on, her existence has been for his sake. In return, his existence is now for hers. And now she has to fix him, put him back on the right path. Moon says he has no idea what she's talking about, asks her to let him go, but she just hushes him. Don't say anything. I'll take care of everything. Tonight, head to toe, inside and out. His body, his soul, every scent, every strand of hair, every drop of blood. All of it would belong to her. Well, at least he doesn't have to worry about impressing his dad anymore. She's definitely taking care of that.